Hi, welcome back to Leadership Training Camp. In this lesson, I want to talk about building a rock-solid character. You know, if you look up the word character in the dictionary, it's going to talk about the moral and ethical qualities that form the individual nature of a person. In essence, whatever your character is a summation of the choices you've made throughout your life. You know, character is not something you're born with, a good character, or born with a bad character. It's something you become as you make decisions. You choose what to value, what not to value. You choose what you believe is right, what you believe is wrong. And over time, that becomes your moral code. And it's so essential in a leadership position that you have a moral code people want to follow, a moral code that people trust. People want to, get by your side. They want to take the journey with you. And our character is much more than do you lie, cheat, or steal, although that is certainly part of it. But your character is measured by a number of key traits. For instance, do you keep your commitments? You know, a lot of leaders have a hard time with this one. They say they're going to do something, they make promises that they don't keep. Well, that's a character flaw. And that's something you've got to work on. By the way, we're all working on our character. Character is never finished. There are all areas of weakness that we have that we must continue to focus on and develop to become the person really that we're meant to be. And keeping commitments is a big one. And let me just tell you, if you have broken some commitments to some of your people, you probably have lost some trust. You need to go make that right. And making it right is more than just making an apology. But if it's possible to make restitution to make up for what you didn't do that you said you would do, you need to do that. Don't think the person has forgotten. They haven't. And it affects your reputation in their eyes. Another character trait is, are you teachable? Or have you turned into a know-it-all? You know, if you're teachable, it demonstrates a humility that is reflective of a strong character, where you listen to feedback. In fact, you even seek it out. And you don't look at training as some sort of punishment. You know you haven't arrived. You've got that humility and that hunger to learn. That's a big part of your character. Another part of character people measure you by is, do you accept responsibility? You know, when things go wrong, does the buck stop with you, or do you immediately start to spin things and make excuses and blame? That's a big part of your character. Can you say, I own this? You know, admit the mistake. Don't repeat the mistake. And don't try to cover it up. You know, can you say that? The buck stops with me. I wasn't ready. I missed it. I didn't see it coming, but I'm going to do better next time. Those types of words and conversations really build trust. Another part of character, you know, is lying, and especially in leadership, looking at the little white lies. I don't even like the term white lies because it makes it seem like it's less than a lie. We have white lies, whoppers, and everything in between now, right? The fact is, if you tell a lie, you're a liar. And sometimes the receptionist will say something like, you know, Dave, so-and-so's on the phone, and if you're tempted to say, oh, well, you know what, just tell them I'm not in, then you've just really hurt your character and your reputation. You just told a lie, and you just asked someone to lie for you, which now you're not just a liar, you're an aider and abetter of lies, you're a lie contagion, you're a lie pusher, and the next time you get up in front of your team to talk about integrity and telling the customer the truth, whatever you said is going to be sticking in that person's mind, and they're going to think, what a hypocrite. This person lies to customers and has me lie for him. And so that's something you have to watch out for as well. Gossiping, you know, that's a reflection of poor character. If you never tell anybody they did a good job, you know, you're withholding positive reinforcement. That's a pride issue. That's a selfish issue that really shows that you have some character issues to work on as well. So our character is made up of all of these and many other aspects as well. But here's what you have to understand. It really doesn't matter how competent you are. If you have shady or questionable character, it's going to be very, very difficult for people to buy into you. You know, they may appreciate and admire your competence, but they're never going to fully trust you. And so you have to make sure that as you lead by personal example, not by personal convenience. You know, that you do high integrity things. You commit yourself to a cause. You don't commit the cause to yourself. You put others first. You demonstrate the values that you say are so important within the company.